Welcome to Jazz Time. JazzTime.com is an online store that buys, sells, trades authentic luxury watches. We make these videos so our customers can easily choose the best watch for themselves in the comfort of their own home. If you like this watch and would like to purchase it at the lowest price anywhere online, click on the link in the description below to buy it at JazzTime.com. Today, I'm going to be reviewing the Rolex Datejust 36 in steel and white gold, reference 126234, with a mint green dial and oyster bracelet. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the history of the Datejust, then tell you about where this watch stands in the lineup of other Datejusts, and then talk to you about the case, bezel, dial, bracelet movement, finally try it on and give you my thoughts. So let's start with the history. Well, the Datejust almost needs no introduction, but I'll say it anyways. It's Rolex's most iconic, longest standing line and most produced line of watches, and they also make the most of them. So rightfully so, because the Datejust is iconic, it's beautiful, and it's really, I don't want to say put Rolex on the map, because Rolex has so many models. Almost every model that they have is on the map, but Datejust is definitely top one or two. I would, and if I were to rate it myself, I would say that the Datejust is their #1 bestseller. Now, as such, they make the Datejust in many different variations. I'll get to that in just a moment, but still on the history part, now it is called the Oyster Perpetual, and the oyster part means that it was supposed to kind of represent the fact that this was one of the first watches that was waterproof, and Rolex really touted that when it was first invented. The oyster being, once you close it, it cannot, water cannot enter it, and inside is a beautiful pearl, something along that. And then perpetual, meaning that it at the time, having an automatic winding movement, meaning that you don't have to use a battery, it'll simply wind itself perpetually, meaning forever, was a big thing. Actually, it still is kind of a big thing. So, okay, so that's where those words are described from. Okay, now, I know that's not the biggest history, but this is a review on this watch, so let's move on to where this watch stands in the lineup of other similar ones. Now, this is the Datejust 36. Rolex makes the Datejust for ladies in size 28, 31, and 36. For men, they make it in size 36 and 41. So as you can see, the Datejust 36 overlaps for both men and women. For women who want to wear a larger watch, or men who likes to wear a smaller watch. So that Datejust 36 is right in the middle, allows you to decide. I would suggest for those people who have a wrist size of 6 inches or larger, or 6 inches up to 7 inches, could consider a Datejust 36. If you have one bigger or smaller, then you should consider a different size. Okay, but at any rate, this is the Datejust 36. Now, they make it in many different variations, as you could imagine, different bezel, dial, bracelet, combinations, and I want to say something along the lines of, like, I don't know, 400 different Datejust variations. Pretty much every variation you can think of, they had it, or they had it, or they will produce it. So, and it makes sense because it's their most iconic line. All right. Now, that's a little bit about where this watch stands. Oh, where does this watch stand in the lineup? Well, this is the Datejust 36 in steel and white gold. So where it stands in the lineup is it's mid-pack. It's not the cheapest. It's not the base model. The base model doesn't have any white gold on it. This one does have white gold. It makes it mid-pack, but it does not have any gemstones on the bezel or the dial, and there's no precious metals on the bracelet. So that makes it mid-pack. Okay, low to mid-pack in terms of price. Okay, because they make Datejusts that have two-tone gold and steel, along with diamonds, etc. It can get much more pricey. Okay, so this is where this watch stands in the lineup, and it's a watch that can be worn by both a man and woman because of its size. Okay, that's where it stands in the lineup. Now let's go ahead and talk about the case. The case, as I said to you earlier, is a 36mm case. That's from my thumb to my index finger, the longest distance across the bezel. And if you look at it on its side profile, you'll also notice that it has a very comfortable around 12mm thickness, which is not too thick, not too thin. It's a great size. And I actually consider the Datejust as the benchmark of proportions when it comes to what is a reasonable size. Why? Because, well, Rolex is the #1 seller in the world, and two, they really hit it on the head when it comes to practicality in terms of size, diameter as well as thickness. Okay, well there you have it. These are the proportions that I believe and Rolex believes and most of the world believes that are the perfect dimensions, 36 millimeters by 12. Okay, that's and the case, by the way, is stainless steel. As I said earlier, it's made out of a monoblock middle case with a screw down case back and a winding crown to keep it from letting water in. Makes sense, right? Two places that water can come in, through the crown and through the back, and both of those are screw down caps, screw down, as opposed to popping it in, which actually some companies still do. I believe Patek still does that on some of their watches. Okay, anyways, let's move on here to the bezel. The bezel is a white gold fluted bezel. Now, the entire watch is silver, as you see, so it's all stainless steel, but the only part that is precious metal is the bezel. Now, the bezel actually used to have a functional component, which would be to screw the glass and the onto the watch and ensure waterproofness. That no longer is the case, but it still serves an aesthetics function. In fact, I would say, I think most people would agree, or at least most professionals would agree, that the bezel itself is the most iconic. This fluted bezel is the most iconic part of any Rolex. Maybe second to that only of the crown. The bezel itself is made of white gold. They make it in several variations, rose gold, yellow gold. They even make another version with diamonds and scattered diamonds, but that gets rid of the fluted bezel. Now, the fluted bezel, no other watch does it like. I'm sure other brands copy, but nobody else does the bezel fluting quite like Rolex, and it's iconic. Anybody who's seen it once, they probably would never forget it for the rest of their lives, even if you've seen it as a kid. So it's a beautiful invention. I think it's it's a sight to behold when you look at this bezel. I'm always in shock, and not in shock, but in awe of it. Okay, now let's move on to the dial. Now, the dial is a mint green. They make the dial in many variations. Now, when you have index dial like this, you get a luminescent on the hour markers, and if you shine the light at it, that's one of the benefits, is that you can see the watch at night, as opposed to a Roman dial or a diamond dial. You can't actually see it, which is less practical, which is a benefit to having an index dial, which I really like. Now, they make this is a kind of a new dial. It came out in 2022, and it's a mint green. Before, they just had basic colors, which is silver, black, white, blue. And then they started coming out with these special dials, which is mint green, and they also are doing these little motifs. They have this palm motif, this fluted motif, all sorts of new different variations, and rightfully so, because it's a beautiful watch, and having these motifs adds flavor to it, or color adds flavor to the watch, because everybody wants most people want a little bit of individuality, and they want to portray that on the watch that they wear. And therefore, Rolex has met that demand by producing all sorts of variations in their dials, and I believe that they'll continue to even do more variations in it. Okay, this particular variation is called mint green. It has a sunray finish, which means it looks out. When you look out at it in certain lights, it looks different. It looks lighter, darker, etc. Yeah. Anyways, and I would try to say that, yes, green is not the easiest color to match, but in itself, it is one of the most beautiful colors. In fact, money is made of green. The Rolex color is green. Trees are green, right? There are many things that are green and very beautiful. And so it doesn't match everything, but I can also say that this is not like a lime green or neon green. It's a very beautiful, deep green that can almost be interchanged with a dark color such as blue, dark blue, or dark gray or black, because it looks so deep and beautiful. Okay, that's enough for the dial. Let's move on to the bracelet. The bracelet here is an Oyster bracelet. They also make it on a Jubilee. The Oyster bracelet is a 3-piece links across. It has a 5mm comfort extension, which means you could open the clasp and change the length of the bracelet without having to use any tools whatsoever. And just by pulling out like this, you can extend it by 5mm, and that's useful in case your hand, which many of ours do, expand or contract depending on the temperature or the time of day, and that allows you to do so without any tools. And a lot of other companies, they don't do that, and I think it's a shame that. But it's no surprise that Rolex, which is making a lot of watches, has thought of all these things and produced them all into one simple watch for you to wear. And they've added this brilliant function, which is 5mm comfort extension. Okay, let's move on to the movement. The movement has changed from the previous generation. The previous generation was using a 3135, which is a good movement. It was excellent movement, used for 20 years. This one is a 3235, has a better finish, it has more accurate, and it's newer, and the parts are going to be available, and it's only in, and that's not only in, actually the 3235 movement is used in pretty much any Rolex that has a time and date and is bigger than 36mm. That goes for their Yachtmasters, their Submariners, their Deep Seas. They all use the 3235, so it's an amazing movement. In fact, it's in millions, literally millions of watches, and it's ticking away. So it's a tried, tested movement. It's a derivative of the 3135, but it's improved, and they did a great job, and here we are. Okay, let's go ahead and try this watch on. Now, I'm 6 foot tall, I have a 7.5 inch wrist, and I weigh 200 pounds. Now, for me, I believe this watch is too small. I have a 7.5 inch wrist though, and I was suggesting to you earlier that anyone who has a 7-inch wrist or smaller could consider 36. So I'm bigger than that, and so I think it's too big too small on me. What do you think? I mean, that's just my recommendation. But at any rate, I really like the Datejust. It's my favorite of the Datejust dress line, rightfully so, because they only make this one in the 1908 or the Cellini, and the Datejust I think is better. It's more versatile, can be worn in many situations, sporting, dress wear. It's just a super versatile watch, and I'm not just saying that because I work here, but also just because that's what I believe. There's no reason for me to huff and puff about a watch unless you really think so. And but Datejust it's a fantastic watch, and in this color I do like it. I think that adding a little color to your watch is definitely a plus, as opposed to just black, white, silver, which I think is a little bit boring. So I like it with a little color. It adds just some personality to it, and I like it on this fluted bezel. I actually prefer the fluted bezel over diamonds, and I also like it in steel because it makes the watch very robust, but still it's a Datejust Rolex, and still can be worn in a more classic dress wear, such as formal wear. That's fine. Anyways, if you like this watch, I like it. If you like it and you'd like to own it, click on the link in the description below to buy it at jazztime.com.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on Show More to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to Model as seen in video, click on it, and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on a mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at jazztime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in Jazztime, plus the brand, model, and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.